Ladies and gentlemen, I too would like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodian of this land, the Dharawal people, who nurtures this land for generations. I would also like to acknowledge all the dignitaries here in the room, the Honourable Paul Scully, Minister for Planning and Public Space, and thank the Western Sydney Leadership Dialogue for bringing this event to Campbelltown. Thank you. We're delighted to have you here today. This is likely my last opportunity to address such a crowd of important and influential people as the Mayor of Campbelltown. So instead of delivering my usual speech about our growth, our plans, and the infrastructure we need to deliver that growth, I'll take a different approach. Mainly because I know there's a few people in the state government left, there's not many people in the state government left who haven't heard me bang on about that. Instead, I'll share a modified and brief version of Back to the Future. Charles Dickens, in 1959, opened his timeless novel, A Tale of Two Cities, with these profound words. We have everything before us. We have nothing before us. We were all going directly to heaven. We are all going directly the other way. In short, the period was so far like the present period. These words resonate deeply when you reflect the urban revolution of Sydney, a city that has been, since its inception, engulfed in an ideological battle between central control and laissez-faire individualism. By the time the renewed British economist and theorist William Stanley Jevons visited Sydney around the time that Dickens wrote his novels, the city had a stark urban segregation. While Sydney segregation was by no means close to the segregation of the English cities, it warranted an investigation. Jevons undertook a survey of the population at the time and developed a unique social class map of Sydney that vividly demonstrated the urban divide. He classified Sydney residents into three classes and shaded his map accordingly: red for first-class residents, blue for second-class residents, and black for the remaining class. An interesting choice of colour, no doubt, but it was the 1800s. He observed that the suburb on elevated ground and high area with significant open space housed the concentration of Sydney's first class. The second-class residents were more dispersed, mostly inhabiting the more built-up area close to the city centre, while the third-class residents occupied the lowest, mostly densely packed and mostly inaccessible part of town. Jevons held the contemporary view at the time that physical density correlated with moral decay, labelling the rocks in Sydney as the worst retreat for filth and vice he has ever seen. Amidst the backdrop of urban disparity, foreign capital came pouring in, with British investors pouring capital into public utilities such as railway and ultimately into urban residential development. The rapid expansion of public transport network and the establishment of new suburbs facilitated the aspiring middle class and even the high-paid lower class to escape the wickedness of the dense city and realise the newly developed suburban dreams. While the label Australian Dream was not formalised until the post-war era, early observers such as Richard Turpin provided a vivid description of how this was taking place in the late 19th century. By the turn of the 20th century, suburban life was an unmistakable symbol of social status, a symbol of success and security. Sydney urban history has demonstrated a complex interplay between density and sprawl, so far like the present period. Over the years, the city growth patterns have been shaped by tension between these forces. High-density areas have often emerged around public transport hubs, promoting efficiency and land use and accessibility, while suburban sprawl spread out driven by a quest for more space and lifestyle, necessitating an expansion of road network and other infrastructure. Our city's history has been recreating itself in interesting cycles, shifting west with each boom and bust. I'd love to stand here and share the detail of this story, and I would love nothing more than to talk about how local government played an active part in it. but time won't allow that. And I don't want to stand here and be the fella, the travelling mate from Slim Dusty 1967 song, Happy Jack. But it's sufficient to say it has always been, you hope for the best as you head for the west, then you whisper a prayer or two. So today, as we stand at the crossroad of history and future planning, I want to reflect on one of the lessons from Sydney Urban Journey, was the hope that we do a little bit more than just whisper a prayer or two. A key element of what made Sydney's class system in 1850 is contributing to the Sydney divide now. It is the lack of accessibility. If we do not combat this divide, if we do not address Western Sydney infrastructure backlog, and if we do not connect Western Sydney areas to each other, to the Greater Sydney and to the new airport, we are risking reigniting or intensifying the ideological battle between control and freedom, between density and space, between city and suburbs. We risk damaging our suburbs and not achieving our goal. Unlike Murray McFly, who had the ability to go back in time to fix a wrong future created by Beef's gambling scam, we don't have that luxury. Our danger arises in a future going back to our past. Unsuccessful density results in unprecedented urban sprawl, a pattern we have seen too many times. But unlike the 1850s, it's unlikely that British investment will be funding the next expansion. A more likely scenario is that we'll be funded by a generation of unborn taxpayers. We must get our infrastructure right now. We must create a network of density of housing, density of jobs, density of entertainment, density of opportunity, the density of the future. Looking back to understand and looking forward to innovate, ensuring that our beloved Sydney continue to strive in a balanced and equitable manner for all its residents. I hope by the end of today, we are one step closer to solving Sydney's current housing crisis and one step further from accidentally laying the foundation for its next one. Thank you for listening to me and welcome to Campbelltown.